Working with gradients in Illustrator. Now in this video, we'll show you how to work with gradients. First, I will create a rectangle and let's have a solid color. Now, on the right panel, you will find a gradient panel and you can just click here, see gradient, click to activate, or clicking on the gradient slider. That will activate the gradient and make sure it's applying the gradient on the fill and not the stroke for the moment. So if you see that it's in the stroke panel and the stroke color, you can just swap them. Let's get rid of the green stroke. Now the gradient applied to our shape, and you can see at the top we have linear gradient, radial, or freeform gradient, which creating different colors. We'll start with the linear gradient, and you can use the slider to change the colors. That means that if I will double click to pick a different color and double click on the left and use the orange. You can also add more colors by simply clicking on the slider, say in the center here, double click and add another color. See how it looks with the radial. So we can see here 3 colors and linear. And you can see that it's already went to the gradient tool. The shortcut is G. You can control it also from here. Double click or move it. If you want to delete a color from the slider, you can just select and drag it outside the slider, or select it and click delete, stop. So that's the linear gradient. We'll use the radial. It will be the same. You can choose which color will be in the center and which color around it. And for both of them, you'll find the options. That will be the direction for the linear, 45 degrees or minus 45. It usually looks good on a gradient, minus 90. And for the linear, we have another option, which is the aspect ratio. If I'll use 50%, will be smaller, or 100%. And the rotation. Now the last interesting feature is the freeform gradient. I'll click on the freeform. It will create 4 different colors. You can add more or delete and move the color inside the shape. So to change the color here, I can double click and select any color from the swatches, or using the CMYK slider. Double click, I'll pick the black color and move it around the shape, inside the shape. Let's say we want to get rid of the black color, just click and delete. If I want to add back, you can see the plus. It will be white by default, but I can double click and change it back to the color I wanted. The radial gradient has 2 options, draw or lines. Points or lines. If I'll use lines, I can really draw a line with the color stop. 1, 2, 3. And control the stop colors again by double clicking. You can also lower the opacity for the point in case you have any image behind the gradient, and reveal some areas in the document behind the shape. When finished with the gradient, we can go back to the selection tool and use it for the shape, and you can apply gradient as well for the stroke. So if I'll swap the fill and stroke, increase the size, we can see that the gradient applied to the stroke. And also for the stroke there are a few options. The default will be applying gradient within stroke, apply along stroke, or across. So that's across, within, and along stroke. And it works the same with the stop colors and the other options. So this is the gradient tool and the gradient panel.